Okay, welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners meeting. This is a public meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QACTV 7. These media broadcasts provide citizens an opportunity to watch and review our scheduled public meetings. In addition to our live audience this evening, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch and participate in county commissioner meetings. Citizens may watch our meetings live on our website at qac.org/live or on our public access governmental television channel provided by Breezeline Cable Services. Citizens may also participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to qac.org/public comment, and citizens may also email comments to publiccomment@qac.org. Comments received will be summarized during the press and public comment periods on tonight's agenda. We acknowledge everyone's participation, and by attending, you acknowledge that this session is both recorded and aired. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you do care to speak, please sign up at the information table in our lobby. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission President Jim Moran.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Commissioners, that brings us to the approval of today's agenda. So our agenda for September 10th, along with the regular session minutes, the closed session minutes from our last meeting on August 27th, have all been circulated for review. Do I have any, are there any additions or corrections?
Yeah, motion to amend the agenda to add one proclamation as a desk item.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Motion to accept the agenda as amended and all minutes as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
All right. So we just held a closed session under the General Provisions Article, Section 3305B1, to discuss personnel. And I do think we have a couple decisions to make, or made a few decisions in the closed session. So the first was for a contract renewal for government services relations.
The motion?
I move to execute the Cornerstone Government Affairs Service Agreement effective October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Commissioners. And the second item was a new case manager position for the drug court, for the circuit courthouse.
I move to approve a full-time contractual circuit court drug court case manager and fund the position using the opioid restitution funds for 2 years.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? I'm just going to say this case manager is for Queen Anne's County now has a drug court. Thank God. Judge Knight started this. It's great for those that are struggling with addiction. They've graduated 3 from the course of the program already, and hopefully they won't ever go back to it. So we just keep our fingers crossed on that. But I want to thank Judge Knight for taking the lead and starting the drug court. There's 130 of them in the state of Maryland, and Queen Anne's County was lacking way behind in that effort, so kudos. And no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners, and very timely. This is Queen Anne's County Goes Purple Month, so very good.
That's right.
All right, moving on, I guess we can go to press and public comment.
Yep. I only have one person that signed up, Peggy. Yes, ma'am. Oh, we get that.
You got to read his thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You're
right.
jumping the gun there.
Okay, we appreciate all citizens for taking time to express their views to the county commissioners. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing. This commission respects your desire and right to convey your message freely. When you do come forward, please speak clearly at our microphone. State your name, your address, and your topic of interest. And in keeping with the dignity of our office, we ask that all views be expressed in a respectful and civil manner. So, ma'am?
Good evening. My name is Peggy Cantfill. I reside at 203 Swan Cove Lane, Chester, Maryland. I'm here to talk about the Chester Beach Haven Development Project and express my disappointment that yet again, on the vote July the 9th, the commissioners reopened the development for Chester Haven Beach development. And I wanted to express my disappointment that the island is overrun with development, but this is in a critical bay area. And I would like for you guys to consider the amount of resources that the county has already spent litigating, rethinking, debating whether development there is appropriate when it obviously is not and is against basically the critical area law. You all were elected to represent the representatives of the residents of the county, the residents of the county and the residents of Kent Island, and people that care about the Chesapeake Bay are against this development. And you are stewards of Queen Anne County's resources that are being spent after 25 years of debating this issue. I would like you to also consider yourselves stewards of the Chesapeake Bay and the critical area, and represent what the residents want in our beautiful island and protect that critical area. And that's what I'm asking of you, to please reconsider and not spend our resources debating this again when it's clearly not appropriate, given the area and the location.
Thank you very much. Would anybody else like to speak? Okay. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and read
We have a
some
few
of the
few
emails.
email comments, okay? Take it away, Bruce.
All right, Commissioners, this first group of emails are going to come in about the Chester Haven Development Project. We're going to read one. They all pretty much said the same thing, and then we're going to read the names of everyone that submitted comments. My wife and I strongly object to the approval by Queen Anne County Commissioners to go ahead with the Chester Haven Development Project, especially on the abbreviated and likely illegal process. The critical area calls for special treatment by its nature, and from what we've seen, obvious shortcuts by officials have overridden the regulated, sensible, and just the process. That came from Shirley Gaynor. We also got emails from Wendy Doubts, from Neil Bates, from Susan Berman, Deanna Alessi, and Susan Miller, all saying the same, pretty much the same thing about environmental impacts.
Do you have anything else, Bruce?
Yes. We then got a group of emails. Both of these are about the ramp closure project. We got two emails that were negative about the project, one quoting that such a closure is highly discriminatory and inequitable, placing the preferences of some citizens over others. Talking about the impact of the entire weekend, and we're concerned about the closures going from noon to 5, which they thought was okay, to 10 to 8, which they thought was too long. And then there was another email, also negative response to the ramp closures. Oh, sorry, that first one was from Monica Levine. The second one echoed the same sentiments about negativity of the closures, especially the excessive use of 10 to 8, and that came from Sharon and Jim Douglas. We then got a group of emails that were in favor of the ramp project. I'll read one, and they all pretty much echoed the same. We moved to Chester on 28th of May, 2024. I feel the road closure pilot is a great idea and much appreciated. There were only a couple of times when Main Street was really backed up, making it hard to travel to stores. Thank you for making the effort for the community. A lot of people had to work hard to make this happen. That came from Paul Mansfield. We also got emails from Jill Smith, from Karen Salemi, Craig Horberger, and Clark French. I will say in one of the emails they did bring up that perhaps it was necessary for Graysonville to have some help with alleviation also. Mm-hmm. That was in the positive email, but it was a negative comment about the traffic still existing in Graysonville.
Thank you. All righty. Would anybody else like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the press and public comment.
All right, thank you, Bruce. All right, Commissioners, if you want to turn to tab number 7, we have one piece of legislative business for this evening, and this is proposed county ordinance 2415 for the Ethics Commission. And this is an amendment from the Ethics Commission that would require all boards and commission members to file financial disclosures annually, along with some reference updates to the Maryland Ethics Code. This is a bill that can be adopted for and scheduled for a public hearing. We do have representatives here from the Ethics Commission if there's any questions this
It just
evening.
needs to be introduced.
Tonight, just for introductions, yes, and then
I'll
we'll
introduce.
schedule a public hearing. Okay. That's all we have for legislation this evening. We can move into presentations then. So if you want to turn to tab number 6. Okay. Tab number 6, item number 1 on page 1, we have Mrs. Cameron Roaney, Executive Director from the Community Mediation Upper Shore. Did I say your name right?
Thank you, Ronayne.
Roaney?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my apologies.
No worries.
Come on up, Cameron. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. If you don't mind passing these down, I could bring some handouts. Thank you. So, my name is Cameron Ronayne. I am the Executive Director of Community Mediation Upper Shore. Community mediation has been on the Eastern Shore since 2002. We were originally one mediation center serving 5 counties on the Eastern Shore. And throughout that time, we've had program areas and a variety of arenas where conflict shows up for us in our community. So that's included family mediation, which can involve parenting plans, families making decisions for elder care of relatives, family reunification. We've seen reentry mediation for incarcerated individuals who are either recently released or soon to be released from incarceration, making a plan with their loved ones and the important people in their lives for their return to the community. We have seen diversionary cases from the courts and from the state's attorney's office. We have seen HOAs in neighborhoods using mediation. We have seen MHIC referrals for homeowners and contractors using mediation. And all of those services with Community Mediation Upper Shore provided free of charge to Kent and Queen Anne's County's residents. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Over the years, we've divided into 4 distinct mediation centers from how we originally began in 2002. So Community Mediation Upper Shore is located in Chestertown and serves Kent and Queen Anne's counties, and the other sister mediation centers serve the other counties on the Eastern Shore. I would like to shed light on where we are now and talk about where we're headed in the community. So we continue to provide mediation for the adult community. So we have seen families use mediation to address the loss of a loved one to overdose, to use mediation to make a plan for the surviving children. We have seen couples use mediation to reconcile after a separation. We have seen co-parents use mediation to make plans for how they're going to handle holidays, religious upbringing, and scheduling for their time with their children. We've seen neighbors use mediation for all different types of things, you name it, noise complaints, the music too loud, the dog that keeps getting loose and is running around the neighborhood, parking, the tree that's blocking your view, and everything else that you can think of. We've gotten state's attorney's referrals for incidents between friends, neighbors, coworkers. We've gotten state's attorney's referrals for youth who have been involved in vandalism, or you name it. And I don't say any of that to alarm anyone. I say that because conflict is inevitable. It's part of life. It's going to show up, and we also know that it's about how you respond. So we're committed to providing this resource as a free opportunity for community members to be involved in taking accountability and repairing harm and resolving conflicts and having self-determination for those outcomes while they do that. And we've expanded in recent years, which is primarily what I want to touch on today. So we've expanded to include schools-based mediation in our list of services. We began piloting that program in the 2019-2020 school year in Mattapique Middle School. You can imagine that we had to pivot pretty quickly with how that school year went. Since then, we have added more and more schools onto that list. So we are We have had consistent presence in 3 middle schools in Queen Anne's County with availability on call to be requested into any of the schools in Queen Anne's County Public Schools.
Question for you.
Yes.
So the mediation is taking place in our public schools.
In your public
Who
schools, yes.
says you two should consider going to mediation?
Yeah.
Like who directs them, the students that way?
It works a variety of ways. So principals, assistant principals, guidance counselors, school social workers. We also have students self-requesting mediation. We have drop boxes in the public schools where students can make a request for mediation. And any school that agrees to that degree of partnership with us, that hosts a Dropbox type site, we commit to checking that at least once a week. So we are frequently in our schools. We anticipate being in the schools this year 4 to 5 days a week. While we have had funding from Queen Anne's County Public Schools in the past, we're not receiving any funding from the school system at this time. So the program continues to grow despite these funding challenges, and we continue to work to keep up with the needs of the community as we do that. So to cover some highlights, this past school year, we served over 160 middle school age students in Queen Anne's County Public Schools who used mediation. That's not including any staff who received free training from our trainers. That's not including any students who received conflict management training and after-school settings or anything like that. That is students who directly participated in group mediation sessions with each other. There are other students who have met one-on-one with Peace Team, which is what we go by when we're in the schools, to consider.
What do you go by?
Peace Team.
Peace Team.
Peace Team, yes. Easier to say than mediation, theoretically. So we have seen students first be referred by an administrator or guidance counselor, and then realize that mediation has been an effective tool for resolving conflict. So the first time they get referred, there was push and shove, someone refers them to mediation. The second time when they self-refer, they anticipate a conflict is coming, and they're getting involved earlier and earlier in preventing the conflict from snowballing. And we remain a free resource to them through their adult life. And so we want to make sure that we continue to offer this service and get people familiarizing themselves with the different tools that we can use to resolve conflicts as soon as we can. So you might notice in front of you, there's these handwritten notes from students. This is from students responding to the question, what did you like best about mediation? And for those of you who don't have this in front of you, I'll give some of my favorites. I got to have a voice. They listened to me without judging me or my ideas. I got to solve the problem. It helped me understand what the other meant or said. It helped me fix my friendship. And these comments come from post-mediation surveys that we distribute to students. So in the survey across approximately 112 students, say that approximately, exactly 112 students, roughly 94% of them responded that they had fully or partially resolved their conflict through the mediation process. 87% of these students said that mediation showed them it's possible to resolve conflicts without fighting. And 73% agreed that mediation prevented their specific conflict from resulting in a fight itself. So with our continued growth and our journey trying to find consistent funding for this program, we've begun utilizing AmeriCorps members to support our partnership with Queen Anne's County Public Schools. So this year we have Henry Draper, a Queen Anne's County High School alum and a graduate of Washington College, serving an 11-month AmeriCorps service term with our organization. So each AmeriCorps member receives over 70 hours of training to be a mediator, $19,700 living allowance, a $7,395 education award, which can be used for tuition, books, student loan payments, or any related expenses to education, a full health care package, eligibility for student loan forbearance and other benefits. And during this time, they serve up to 40 hours per week in Queen Anne's County Public Schools. We anticipate needing more AmeriCorps members in the coming years to meet the demand and the volume of cases that we're seeing in Queen Anne's County, both in the schools and in other service areas. So our ask for all of you is we want to ensure that the community is first and foremost aware of this free resource and using this resource. Whenever conflict arises or there's a difficult conversation to be had, mediation can be utilized at all stages and all intensities of that process. So whether it's a preventative conversation, whether it's responding to somebody giving you a dirty look, or whether it's repairing harm after a physical altercation, mediation remains available through all intensities of conflict for all different age groups. And as an organization who receives funding from the Queen Anne's County Commissioners, we want to periodically come in and update you on how our services are being utilized in Queen Anne's County. You don't always get to see or hear about the impact of mediation. We're often working with people who are in a challenging and ultimately very private situation in their lives. And so we want to share what we can and show what we're doing in the community and make sure that you all are fully aware of the services that are going on in the county. And we're grateful to have this opportunity to share what's on the horizon. We hope that when you see or hear about or experience conflict, you think about us, you tell people about us. You have the brochures in front of you about all the different ways that mediation can be used. And we have extras here that we can distribute to anyone here who's interested. And anyone in Queen Anne's County who has any connections to Queen Anne's County can use this service. So whether they work here, live here, have family here. So families, businesses, colleagues, neighborhoods, friends, roommates, landlords, tenants, and so on and so forth can all be using this service. And coincidentally, October, not just a few weeks away, is Conflict Resolution Month. So we will be out in the community and we'll be hosting our own Conflict Resolution Day happy hour. So we hope to be more in touch and have more FaceTime with everyone in the coming weeks. And I'm here to answer any questions that you have about mediation in Queen Anne's County.
I do have one. And I guess you get to the root cause a lot of times of why they're there for mediation. How much do you think social media has had a play in creating conflict?
We certainly see many requests for mediation based on what's going on in social media in middle schools. and giving school staff a resource to address conflicts that maybe aren't happening on school grounds, but are certainly affecting the classroom and affecting what's going on for students, and being an outside agency to support that. We've absolutely seen students make plans about how they're going to handle what's going on Discord or TikTok or what have you. Absolutely. What's that head shake mean?
No. I just, you only read a couple of those
Yes.
comments from the kids, but it just seems like the general message is that a lot of times they just needed someone to sit down with them and listen to each other's story or rationale for their behavior. And it just seems like it was just an opportunity to work it out between themselves with someone there to help them understand each other's situation. It's good stuff.
See, that's honestly, that's exactly what got me thinking about the social media, because kids nowadays don't communicate face-to-face typically. It's via
Yes.
cell phone or on social media. And yet, when you put them in a mediation, they seem to, if you read these, they seem to resolve the issue because they're face-to-face and they're actually talking. So
people inherently want to be in good relationship with each other and want to be in good community with each other. And we've seen students who the first session, they come in, hood up, one headphone in, they kind of move the chair 5 feet from the table, and they're not quite making eye contact with anyone. And then the next session, I see that same, I'm visualizing a student right now, come in, sit at the table, shoulders are relaxed, physically present at the table, engaged, listening to each other. We spend a lot of time talking about people's feelings and people's values, and I've seen students offer their own feeling word. I've also seen students try to name the feeling that someone else in the room has experienced, even if it's feeling they caused, right? Understanding that your friend felt betrayed by your behavior, from a standpoint of developing skills that they'll take with them beyond that one conversation is really powerful to see.
I think it's particularly important with younger kids, right? So one, for social media, anything in writing, you can lack tone, and that can lead to more conflict. But kids themselves don't know yet how to fully deal with conflict, but they encounter a lot of it. So it's a great resource that you're giving them and showing them how to work through that. A lot of adults can still learn to use how to manage through conflict. So what an excellent service. Thank you very much for everything you're doing.
they may become future lawyers, Counselor.
Hopefully not, for their sake.
Any other questions? for me?
No, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you all for the
Good
time.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next presentation is from Ms. Heather Tonelli, Director of Economic and Tourism Development. This is for the Minority Entrepreneurship Training Accelerator Pilot Program. There's a presentation in your book, tab 6, item 2, pages 2 through 10, and I believe we're going to have it up on the screen here for our audience as well.
So we're going to have Ms. Rebecca Clark handle today's presentation and introduce those that are going to be speaking.
All right.
I'm just going to introduce. So I just wanted to say thank you for the time to get to talk a little bit about a pilot program that we were able to fund this year through the Rural Maryland Economic Development Fund for a Minority Entrepreneurship Training Accelerator. So I just wanted to very briefly introduce you and let them take it from here to Rebecca Murphy of Upper Shore Community Development Partners, who received the grant and administered the grant, and then Sam Shoge from Rivers and Roads, who helped facilitate this program. And they're going to tell you about the program, and then we're going to recognize the 5 participants who completed this first cohort. We're really proud of them, and thank you very much.
Slide the
Make sure the
mic.
microphones are in front of them again. Thanks.
There we go.
Right. I guess I'll start.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Murphy, and I'm the founding consultant of Upper Shore Community Development Partners, which is a CDC that is based in Chestertown, whose mission is to use community development and collaboration and access to resources, whether that's technical assistance, training, or capacity building, that can remove barriers to entry and address systemic and longstanding economic inequality with the goal of closing the wealth gap for our economically disadvantaged residents of Kent and Queen Anne's counties. We collaborate with area nonprofit organizations and government, and we work with community members to provide small business and entrepreneurship assistance through Meta, job readiness training, and homeownership readiness. On behalf of USCDP, I would like to first thank you all for giving us the opportunity to recognize these outstanding individuals this evening. Next, I would like to express our deepest appreciation to Sam Shoge of Rivers and Roads for his expert execution and delivery of the Minority Entrepreneurship Training Accelerator. And finally, I would also like to express our sincere gratitude to Rebecca Clark for her diligence, patience, and commitment as she guided us through all of the county's processes. Meta was created with the belief that diversity and entrepreneurship strengthens our community and economy. It is with great pride and joy that we congratulate the graduates of the inaugural class of the Minority Entrepreneurship Training Accelerator program. Today at this commissioners meeting, we celebrate not only their accomplishments, but also the bright futures that each of them is carving out in our community. They are the embodiment of our program's mission. Their achievements will leave we believe their achievements will leave a lasting impact. And just to the graduates, USCDP remains committed to supporting you as you continue to build your businesses and navigate the challenges ahead of you. We are confident that your contributions will strengthen the Upper Shore for years to come. Thanks so much for your time.
Okay. So good evening, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be in front of you this evening. My name is Sam Shoge. I am a co-founder and partner at Rivers and Roads Consulting. We specialize in community, economic, and real estate development consulting, and it was my pleasure to serve as the program facilitator and coach for the Minority Entrepreneurship Training Accelerator, META for short. META is a 6-month intensive business development and coaching program aimed at providing a cohort of small minority businesses with the resources they need to scale. In combination with a microgrant, the program intends to measurably close the knowledge, resource, and funding gap between minority-owned and non-minority-owned businesses. So just to give a very brief overview of why programs like META are so incredibly important, included in your packet as well as on this slide here for everyone's edification, we included just an example to highlight some of the disparities between our minority-owned businesses and our non-minority-owned businesses. So I'll read just a couple of examples. If anybody has further questions or wants to talk further about disparities and how we can potentially close some of those gaps, we are more than willing to have that conversation. But again, just for everyone's edification, a couple of examples to highlight the disparity and why META as a program is so important. The average revenue of Black sole proprietorships versus non-minority sole proprietorships, $22,000 versus $50,000. And this is just for sole proprietorships, not actual LLCs or corporations. And then on average, non-minority owned businesses are 6 times larger than our Black owned businesses. And if we were able to reach parity, so the proportion of Black-owned businesses representing the same proportion as our non-minority-owned businesses across the country, that would represent an increase of about 800,000 new businesses nationwide. So when we talk about closing the wealth gap, and we and closing the disparity, this is ultimately the data that we're working with, and we apply this across all minority businesses, so women-owned, veteran-owned. You'll see that some low-hanging fruit opportunities to make a measurable impact on our economy is by working closely, providing resources, funding, and knowledge to our minority businesses. So this was just an example. So how Meta came to be. Former Secretary of Commerce, Secretary Gill, always said that economic development is a team sport, and that is very much so reflected in this program here. So the Department of Commerce issued a grant to the regional councils across the state of Maryland from a funding appropriation from Governor Hogan when he was still in office. That money then trickled down to our regional councils. Queen Anne's County applied for funding to support this program, and that funding went to Upper Shore Community Development Partners, who you just heard from Rebecca, who was the actual program administrator for the Minority Entrepreneurship Training Accelerator. So that just gives you a very quick flow of how this program came to be and just how many agencies pulled their resources together and collaborated to provide assistance for 5 businesses here in Queen Anne's County. And then the overall process, we issued an application in Q4 of 2023. We had 15 applicants from women and minority-owned businesses here in Queen Anne's County. We reviewed the applications with the Upper Shore Community Development Partners. 5 businesses were selected. Obviously, the requirement had to be that they were Queen Anne's County businesses. And 5 businesses were selected, and we actually have all of those owners and operators here with us today. We have Miss Dana Ewell with Onyx Beauty Supply Salon and Barbershop, Tamika Wheeler with Long Life Assisted Living, Ebony Johnson with Tips and Toes Nail Salon, and Diane Mormon White with DMW Soul Fitness, and Monisha Maynard with 3 Guys and a Girl Personal Chef and Catering Experience. So we held our first seminar in February of 2024, and our final seminar was held in August of 2024. So we have concluded the program, and I have a picture of the Kent Island Library because that's where we held all the sessions. Beautiful facility, by the way. Thank you for supporting our libraries. I had to put that plug in. My mom was a retired librarian, so. So, what Meta entailed with the minority business seminars, we included a variety of topics from market strategy to business planning, licensing and regulation. That was actually one of our favorite classes from the participants, licensing and regulation. Didn't exactly see that one coming, but they saw it as extremely informative, and we just went through the process of getting all your necessary permits, et cetera, from the county level to the state level, and so on. And then, of course, sales and customer service. So that's just a sampling of some of the programs that we discussed. And then, of course, each business had personal coaching that I provided. So we had 6 courses and then 6 one-on-one coaching sessions. The program came with intensive business plan support, as well as marketing support as well. So our participants were connected with a web developer who helped them build out their website and create a new logo, help come up with marketing materials, etc. Legal support as well. So we had an attorney supporting the program who was actually able to work with some of the participants on any legal issues or matters that came up. And we discussed bookkeeping best practices, and we also are providing each of the participants a small micro grant. So some of the overall results, we very happily, many of our participants reported increased revenues. That's always good. And participant partnerships was another outcome from this program. So during our sessions, many of our participants were quite literally making and discussing how they could partner their businesses during our cohorts. So that was a very indicative of just the program and the collaborative nature and approach that we took. And then, of course, the micro grant that I mentioned earlier. And then we help two of our businesses create LLCs. So going from sole proprietorships to having an established limited liability corporation here in the state of Maryland. And then new websites and business logos. So as Rebecca mentioned earlier, I too want to just extend my gratitude to the entire economic development team, especially Rebecca Clark and Heather Tonelli. Rebecca was very instrumental in just getting all of the pieces connected. So we really could not have pulled this off without her. So Rebecca, thank you very much. And I want to thank again the Kent Island Public Library for being our host and their beautiful facility. And also you all for allowing us to be before you, give you an overview of this program, and to very publicly congratulate our businesses for an incredible job well done. Thank you. And before we present the certifications, I thought it would be good for you all to hear from one of the participants.
Yeah, great.
So we've got Diane Marmon-White. Yeah, I'm not going to let you get out of this one, Diane. So please join us. Rebecca, do you want to slide that microphone over to you?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
And everyone else in the room. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. My name is Diane Mormon-White, and I am the founder and owner of BMW Soul Fitness, which just celebrated its one-year anniversary last month. Thank you for the opportunity to briefly share my experiences as one of the 5 cohort members of the Minority Entrepreneurial Training Accelerated Program with you. I am proud to be part of the very first META program. I retired from almost a 40-year career as a veterinarian in upstate New York to begin a business in a totally different discipline in Maryland. So I teach dance now that I'm down here in Maryland. It was truly a leap of faith. One reason I never pursued ownership of a veterinary practice years ago was because I didn't believe I was equipped with the tools to operate a successful business. And I wish there was a META program for me back then. The META program has helped me to develop business acumen, has instilled in me the confidence to think big and sometimes out of the box, and identified the skills and resources needed to succeed. I'm sure that my fellow META cohort members would agree that our monthly classes were very relevant to important business topics. We covered market research, identifying our customer avatar, business regulations, which I agree with Sam, I did a little bit of regulatory work and quality assurance work as a veterinarian, so it was a special topic, a good topic for me. Financial management, branding, and customer relations, just to name a few topics. It was so valuable to share experiences as a group. Our discussions made me realize that some of the things I was going through with my new business weren't so unique. And as Sam also said, the collaboration among our cohort members was pretty amazing. Guest speaker presentations were quite informative. Consultation with an attorney, graphic designer, experts in business banking, and a local firm that provides training program funding were outstanding resource opportunities. In addition, I greatly benefited from the individual coaching sessions with Sam, sharing his lessons learned as an entrepreneur, determining price setting strategies, offering ideas for going large with my business were incredibly valuable. Also, I quickly learned that Sam is very direct and brutally honest, which for sensitive me was a tough pill to swallow initially, but I soon realized that he had my best interest and my business in mind. One of our first META assignments was to talk about a successful entrepreneur who inspires us. I chose Sheila Johnson, the first Black female billionaire, co-founder of BET, CEO of Salamander Hotels and Resorts, and the co-owner of 3 DC-based national professional sport teams. Quite successful indeed. One of my favorite quotes from her is, "Don't ever lose sight of who you are and your own power." At the beginning of the META program, I realized that I had the first part of this down. I'm very true to my personal values. But the power thing, the second part of that quote, that was the area I needed a lot of help in. And this program really helped me with my feelings of self-doubt, my estimating myself, and at the beginning, I kind of envisioned my business as a side gig. I was going to find some full-time work to do, and this was going to be just something I was going to do extra. Probably the biggest thing that the Meta program has done for me was to change my mindset. I am now recognizing the power I possess to achieve my goals, both big and small. When Sam asked me to speak tonight, my immediate response was, ugh, you know I hate public speaking. But then I said to myself, I got this. Sitting here, talking to you this evening is a true testament of the tremendous value of the Meta program. I'm sure that we will all remember how this experience was instrumental to business growth and success. And on behalf of my fellow cohort members and myself, thank you for the opportunity to be part of the program, and thank you for the privilege of your time.
Thank you.
I think there was a method to your madness in selecting her.
Indeed. Indeed. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to do some certificate presentations now.
Let's go down and do it.
So to get his photos, we got to.
You all make those commissioners look better.
That's hard to do.
Okay, Commissioners, our last item under the presentations portion of the agenda this evening, tab 6, item number 3, is introduction of Mr. Carl Anderton, the Director of the Department of Commerce. So, Mr. Carl, you want to come on up? Yeah. All right.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
We're doing good.
All right, very
Doing good. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yes, sir. Ooh, what a layup.
You didn't want to have to fix Kerwin, so you left and
That's
took
right.
his job instead. Is that right?
Figured it out. Yeah. That's going to be fun. Yeah. Not really, but. So my name's Carl Anderson. I was blessed to represent the citizens of Wycomico County in the Maryland General Assembly for the past decade, up until about a month ago. When the governor reached out, we had conversations as he was candidate for governor about, traveling the state, hearing that, the rural parts of the state have always historically felt that we've kind of left out, the stepchild, if you will, whatever the term you want to use, just kind of not the main focus of things as other parts of the state. And he asked me about that, and I said, I'm not sure of the accuracy, but I can tell you that I've been told that my whole life, and so I think we're just all programmed to feel that way. And I think there probably is some truth to it. You know, if you travel around, you tend to feel like down in Somerset, where I'm from, probably don't get the same attention they get in other parts of the state. And so he said, well, you know, we need to fix that. And I said, yeah, I agree. That'd be a great idea. I mean, I've heard people talk about it, but nobody's put any action behind it. Well, this governor's a man of action, because he approached me and asked if I'd be willing to take on 16 counties as a liaison, as his eyes and ears with local governments, local businesses, with a focus on economic strategies, also, but with a similar charge of being a conduit between you know, businesses, county governments, and state agencies where there may be issues, you know, holding up economic development or things that improve our quality of life. So I told him, I said, yeah, absolutely. I take the challenge. Let's do it. And so we've been at this for about a month now, and so we finally made our way to Queen Anne's today. And it's kind of funny, you know, I spent some time with the economic development team. Heather is amazing. You guys are very lucky to have her, by the way.
It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, really amazing. Like top shelf, like legit, like bona fide. She's a tutor. I mean, yeah, all the things you want to put out there. I mean, she's like, those are stuff. It's truly amazing, you know. And you know, I'm sure that other people will see that. Your county, if you're watching this, your folks are great. Heather's just a little bit better. I mean, it's just really like legit. You know, you guys, that's an awesome asset for you to have in this county. But in my conversations with her, just learning about, you know, the direction of things and how similar in some ways Queen Anne's and Somerset County are where I grew up. You know, you have two high schools here. We have two high schools in Somerset. You have Upper County, Lower County. We have Upper County, Lower County, you know, and so it's very similar, you know, that, you know, even though we may be an hour or so apart by drive, you know, I mean, we're all cousins. We're all related here on the shore, especially. You know, same thing with Western Maryland. We're related to the folks, and at the folks in Allegheny, their issues are our issues. Our issues are their issues. And I'm hopeful that in this time of traversing the state and meeting with these different counties and different economic folks and business groups and chambers and greater committees, that we're able to find some issues, some things, some initiatives to solve issues that maybe somebody's doing in some county that could fit here, or something that y'all are doing here. With Heather, I know she's got a lot of stuff going on. Maybe there's some she's doing good here that will work in Allegheny County, and that we can make the state even smaller, you know. And you know, so I'm just really privileged. I'm really lucky. I'm really blessed that the governor has given me this opportunity. I mean, he has a sincere focus on the rural parts of the state, and his deeds, man, he's walking his talk. I got to give him credit.
You know, I noticed that.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't carry these counties here on the shore, but
right.
But he's made a huge commitment.
Yeah.
And right out of the gates. So look, you know, I didn't carry these counties during the election, and there's obviously
it mattered
a
just as
reason.
much. Right.
So what do I
Yeah.
need to do to fix that?
Right.
And he came out charging.
Yeah.
Mr. Shore.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's a big focus for the upper shore as well as the lower shore, mid shore, you know, all aspects. And so it's really interesting, you know, and I almost feel like I wish I could still be in the legislature to see it happen. You know, this focus that he's putting in it, that's unilateral, you know, from all geographic sections of the state. And it's not like one person's getting more love than the other, you know. And for me, you know, our goal is to be here as close to it monthly as possible. You know, this is a big state, so when we took this charge on, I told the governor, I said, man, 16 counties? Oh, yeah, man, we'll be there once a month. Yeah. A little more difficult than I thought.
Yeah, it is.
You know, a little more difficult than I thought. But we're going to get there to at least be every 6 weeks, if not, you know, quicker. I mean, you know, to meet with, you know, the economic development folks and county administration, at least on a regular basis, trying to get to 2 council meetings a year. The problem is every council meeting in the state of Maryland is on a Tuesday. So what I don't know is, was there something in the state constitution says, as you establish your county, you will meet only on Tuesdays between 5 and 7 p.m., you know, all of y'all. You know, so I don't know if that's written in there, if we can, you know, could somebody get a Wednesday? Could a brother get a Wednesday or a Thursday? Right. You know, I mean, so that's what's taking a little longer is trying to pare everything down as we travel the state to get in front of you guys and your counterparts. And we're going to do that as often as we can. I'd like to do it at least twice a year. If you'd asked me a month ago, I said, oh, yeah, we'll do it 4 times a year. I'm going to be a little more realistic now. I'm going to say twice a year that we get, but I plan on meeting with your county administration and your economic development folks much more often on a regular basis, so much so that they get tired of like, oh, man, it's time for them to come through here again. But I'm hopeful that to glean information from here that we can share elsewhere and take information we learn elsewhere and bring here. And let's see if we can keep the businesses we have and attract some new things that are very excited. They're going to put people to work. Because the one thing I have learned through my life is you give someone a job, you don't change them. That's a generational blessing. I mean, you change the generations that come behind them, and I'm all about that. So thank you for letting me come by here for a couple minutes, and I look forward to spending as much time in your county as I spend in my own. So
real quick, Carl,
Yes, sir.
you have the 16 rural counties?
Yes, sir.
So on the Rural County Coalition, if you need anything that you want to get out, we have a conduit to get that stuff out.
Man,
to all
that's what I'm
16.
talking. Yes, let's connect on that. Absolutely, that's great. And I look forward to hanging out with you guys on that as well. So we're putting this together. This is brand new, so we're building this ourselves. So let's all put our stamp on what we want out of this. And the ease of getting information to and from the governor. Like everything that we discuss, if you give me an idea, sir, it's going straight to his desk. It's not going to a desk here that's getting dropped off to a desk here and sent over here. It's going straight to his desk. And so that's the way he wanted it. He wants to know directly from the rural counties, and Queen Anne's is one of them. So I'm excited about that. And so I'm hopefully we can do some really cool things. So yes. Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Block. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you going to be around for the round table, or are you taking off after this?
I'm not sure of a round table.
End of the meeting.
It's
At
a
the end of our meeting.
portion of our meeting. He probably won't make it here. You going to stay for the rest of our meeting? There you go, Commissioner. You put him on the spot.
I mean, what? Yeah, I mean,
I want to put you on the spot.
Sure.
And, I had a conversation at NACO last year with the governor. And this year with Senator Cardin about dredging Continental Dam. So this is kind of a big deal.
it's a very big deal for all of us. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll give you a call. Maybe we can talk in the next few days.
I'll come back up here and meet with you. So you tell me a time that works for you, and we'll drive up here and we can talk about it. It's a very big issue to all of us. I mean, the entire peninsula. So it's not, And so I remember, working with Delegate Jacobs several times on legislation. We sent letters to Pennsylvania and to New York and tried to work through our federal delegations on trying to get Pennsylvania and New York to do their part of cleaning up their water sources instead of us being the sole burden of the entire Chesapeake watershed, which is ridiculous in my opinion. But
Yeah, that's a big lift to get the surrounding states. But
Yeah.
if we could just do a dredge pilot program.
my understanding was there was one that was commissioned.
There was.
Yeah.
There was, but we don't want to revisit it. And that was my conversation with Senator Cardin. And, Phil and Jack have been definitely involved in this. And Ronnie 50 up in Kent County. So it's nothing new, as you know.
No.
It's just a matter of someone saying, let's do this. And the governor is the guy who could do that.
Yes, he is, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. I'll come up here, we'll hang out, and then they'll give me the opportunity to ask you about that barn in your virtual background there.
He wishes.
It's it looks so real. I thought you were in the parking lot.
The horse is not left the barn.
But yes, absolutely. We can schedule a time as early as next week. If it works for you. I have no problem coming back up. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
Just one last thing real quick. If you plan on taking Heather Tonelli with you on the road to introduce maybe some programs that are successful here and you feel that can be shared, there is a fee.
There's a fee.
Yeah, there's a fee.
I ain't got no money.
Yeah, there's a fee.
We'll send it to the governor's office.
Yeah.
There'll be an invoice for her time.
I got coupons at local restaurants. I mean, if that helps. But I mean, yeah, absolutely. So
Thank you.
I appreciate you, boys. Absolutely. We'll see y'all real soon.
Thanks, Carl.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you next week.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, that concludes our presentations for this evening. We can move into the action items portion of the meeting. So if you want to flip over to tab number 3, we've got 10 items and 1 desk item. So tab number 3, item 1 on page 1 is Proclamation 2434 for Cadet Captain Nathan Mellinger. I think he is here this evening, maybe with some folks. So you want to come on up, Captain, please? Yeah. We have a proclamation for you. Right. You can see. Yeah, have a seat. Yeah.
This is like your first solo, isn't it?
So tell us everything about what you're doing. And
So I'm with the cadet program Civil Air Patrol. We are a Air Force auxiliary specializing in search and rescue and volunteer service. Some of our profile for our squadron is flight training and search and rescue exercises. We serve cadets who are from the ages of 12 to 21. Our highest rank is colonel, and our benefits are, once you make cadet officer, like I have, automatically as you get into the Air Force, you're guaranteed a E3 rank. Otherwise being a... correct? Thanks. He was in the Air Force, so he knows.
So why aren't you up here? Come sit and join him.
I am. With this rank, I also assume cadet command for our squadron, which is ironic because he is our commander entirely for the East Coast Squadron.
Why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, sir. My name is Richard Mellinger. He's my son, obviously, and I'm the Eastern Civil Air Patrol Eastern Composite Squadron Commander.
nice.
Kind of ironic that, yeah, we have the cadet commander and myself are father and son. It's kind of unique.
Family business, right?
So do you have aspirations to go to the Air Force Academy, or?
I do have aspirations for the military, not the Air Force, fortunately, but I do have aspirations for the military.
Which branch?
Army.
We won't hold that against you.
Former Marines.
F-Force.
I'm still fighting over Marines.
Yeah. Good. Well, we have a proclamation for you.
I have it.
Commissioner Wilson's going to...
Happy to read it, too. It's Proclamation 2434. Whereas Cadet Captain Nathan Andrew Mellinger is a member of the Maryland Wing, Group 5, Eastern Composite Squadron, Civil Air Patrol. That's a mouthful. Do you have to say that every day? And will assume Cadet Squadron Command on September 19th, 2024, so just around the corner here. And whereas Cadet Captain Mellinger joined Civil Air Patrol in November of 2021, he's served in several leadership positions during his cadet career, including Eastern Flight Sergeant, Eastern Flight Commander, and Maryland Wing Encampment Cadet Cadre as a flight commander. And whereas Cadet Captain Mellinger has completed 11 of 16 achievements in the Civil Air Patrol Cadet Program and passed a comprehensive aerospace and leadership mission area test to achieve the Amelia Earhart Award and rank of Cadet Captain, only achieved by the top 5% of Civil Air Patrol cadets nationwide. And whereas Cadet Captain Nathan Mellinger is a junior at Queen Anne's County High School, served as a sound engineer for school plays, and volunteered as a triage patient for Queen Anne's County Community Emergency Response Team training while in the Homeland Security course of study. And whereas Cadet Captain Mellinger has assisted in the placement of more than 500 flags honoring fallen veterans during the Rotary Club's Memorial Day Flags for Heroes events. He's marched in the Easton Christmas and Oxford Day parades and volunteered at Easton Airport Day events demonstrating Civil Air Patrol's core values. And whereas the County Commissioners take special pride in such important achievements by young citizens of Queen Anne's County, and whereas the County Commissioners feel positive that this endeavor will result in Cadet Captain Nathan Mellinger being not only a better citizen of Queen Anne's County, but also a better citizen of the world. And now, therefore, we, the County Commissioners of Queen Anne's County, recognize Cadet Captain Nathan Mellinger for his commitment and dedication to the community and for setting such a fine example for younger individuals to follow. And with him, the best of luck, happiness, and success in all your endeavors.
Yeah.
Picture?
Thank you. Go away yet.
Where's Beth? Beth here? Yeah. All right. We're going to get that picture.
Carry a little bit of Queen Anne's County with you everywhere. There's one of our challenge points.
Congratulations, cadet.
They gave you a handshake?
Huh?
You didn't
Oh,
hand
yeah.
it.
There you go.
There you go. No, he's in.
Sterling.
That's right. Gotta be.
And mom and dad, well done.
All right, Commissioners, moving along. Item number 2, on page 2, we have Proclamation 24-30. This is for Library Card Sign-Up Month.
Okay.
Chris, do you have a library card? All right, just checking.
I have my brand-new library card.
Look up there. Look up there.
No, please.
Oh, wow. Wow, look at this.
See that? I walk the talk, man. You can't catch me like that. Come on. Not a rookie. All right.
You had that all set up. He like had Bruce on cue over there, like shaking his thumb at him. You're at him.
Whereas a library card is the most essential school supply of all, and whereas libraries and librarians play a crucial role in the education and development of children, and whereas the libraries offer a variety of programs to stimulate an interest in reading and learning, and whereas library resources serve students of all ages, from early literacy to STEAM programs to research databases, and whereas signing up for a library card is the first step on the path towards academic achievement and lifelong learning, whereas a library card gives students the tools that foster success in the classroom and beyond, and whereas librarians create welcoming and inclusive spaces for people of all backgrounds to learn together and engage with one another, and whereas a library card empowers all people to pursue their dreams, explore new passions and interests, and whereas libraries are constantly transforming and expanding services to meet the evolving needs of their communities. And now, therefore, we, the County Commissioners of Queen Anne's County, hereby proclaim September as Library Card Sign-Up Month in Queen Anne's County, encourage everyone to sign up for their new library card today, signed by all the commissioners. I would encourage everybody to go down, even if you had a library card before.
Right.
Right? I had mine from when the Canal Library first opened up, and I got the new one issue, which has the new logo on it. And you can go down and check out all the cool stuff that's going on at the library, particularly the Kent Island Library. There's a lot more than just books. There's a lot of things. If you got kids that are interested in STEAM, little crafts that they can take home, and projects where they're building things with electronics, you could rent a fishing pole down there. There's a maker space, so if you design something on your computer, you can go there and have the 3D printer printed out. Very cool, a lot of stuff going on. Thank you. Was that good?
Nailed
Want to get a picture of us? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you want to do it down here?
Yeah. Sure.
There's a lot more extras than Jim's got in a long time.
Chris, bring your library card and hold it up.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do that. Hold on. I want to see that same smile I'm looking at up there, all right? Even more commissioner shirt, look at that. Represents, yes, sir. Right through the door.
You can hold that. Got it? All right. Thank you. Absolutely.
We'll leave that visual up there for this next item. In keeping with our library theme here, I move into item number 3 on pages 3 through 6. We have a memorandum from Janet Salazar, the director of Queen Anne's County Library. So in order to be eligible for our state share of the cooperative local state aid program for the public library, the county must provide required minimums for the matching contribution per the state education article. In FY25, the state share we received was $221,697, and a county contribution was $2.782 million, which obviously exceeds the required minimum by a great amount. So we would recommend execution of the annual certification form by the President of the Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Moran.
I move to execute the certification for cooperative local state library aid program FY 2025 form.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
All right, we're all set. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, item number 4 on page 7 is our character counts spotlight. This is September Spotlight's responsibility and honors our school resource officers and our volunteer firefighters.
Yep, so I have the privilege of reading our spotlight for September. The Character Counts pillar celebrated in September is responsibility. The pillar stands for doing what you are supposed to do, taking accountability for your actions, and understanding and acting on your role as a member of the community. Our 2 nominees this month demonstrate this in the highest level as they serve to protect the citizens of Queen Anne's County. First, we want to honor Queen Anne's County School Resource Officers. These brave members of the Queen Anne's County Sheriff's Department are specially trained to protect our youngest citizens. They work hard every day to keep outside dangers from entering our schools. That's not all they do. They also build relationships with students, connect with families, with community resources, and help create a positive school environment. They take their responsibilities to our children and the greater community seriously, and we thank them. Our second honorees this month are the county's volunteer firefighters. Queen Anne's County is protected by 9 volunteer firehouses and the EMS department, who partner with the Department of Emergency Services to protect life, property, and the environment throughout all the areas of this county. They are dedicated men and women who committed to the community responsibility, risking their own lives for others. They answer the call and show up for us in some of the scariest moments. We are very grateful for our county SROs and volunteer firefighters who demonstrate responsibility for their neighbors every day. As always, if you are aware of a business, a nonprofit, or an individual in the county exemplifying one or all of the 6 pillars of character, be sure to nominate them for a future spotlight in the Character Counts website, which is www.peopleofcharacter.org.
Very well. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Commissioner DiManel. Okay, item number 5, Commissioners, on pages 8 through 17. This is the contract recommendation for the FY 2025 through 2027 nutrition program. In your book, you have a memorandum from Annie Sparks at the Area Agency on Aging, and she is recommending executing a contract with a food service provider that would provide meals for the conjugate meal program in the 4 senior centers and for the home delivered meals program. So they put this out to bid. They received 2 bids, and these programs are funded through the Federal Older Americans Act grants, a state nutrition grant, and some local county funds. They do provide 10,000 meals per year and 13,000 meals per year on our home delivered meals program. So they are recommending the award of the contract to the lowest bidder. We did receive 2 bids. Watson Hall Partners, $6.79 per congregate meal and $7.69 per home delivered meal.
I move to award the food services contract for the Area Agency on Aging to Watson Hall Partners, DBA Business Food Solutions, and give permission for the Area on Aging to execute the contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Were these, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Were these 2 new bidders, or had we used these
bring 'em up.
folks in the past?
We've been with Business Food Solutions for a long time. Eats Sprout was a new vendor for us.
How many home meals do we deliver a year?
13,000.
13,000 meals get delivered a year.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
That's more than Domino's.
Yeah.
Probably is more
A
than
lot
Domino's.
less expensive, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Thank you both. All right, Commissioners, items 6 and 7 are open space reduction easements. We have some staff here if there's any questions, but the first one, item number 6 on pages 18 through 26. This is an amendment to easement number 2401003, termination of an open space easement for the Jennifer McGlashan property. And this owner is requesting to approve and reclassify and amend the subdivision technique utilized to create a 5-acre lot from the cluster to slide technique, which would allow the open space to be eliminated.
So, good evening, Commissioners. I wanted to first introduce you to Doug Summers, who's been an integral part of our development review team for almost 3 years. You just haven't met him yet in this context, so I wanted to accompany him tonight just to officially introduce you at this meeting, but also to contextualize the open space memos that you get on a regular basis. You received these memos for subdivisions that predate 2004. Our ordinance changed from previous iterations specific to open space because in the past there was an allowance to include all of the remaining land in an open space agreement. So where a requirement might be to have 50 acres of open space as a part of a subdivision development or a site plan, rather than ask a surveyor and a property owner to pay for a survey to create a meets and bounds description of 50 acres on, say, a 200-acre farm, the county had allowed the entire remainder parcel to go into an open space agreement, easement. But anytime there was an adjustment to that area, we have to then amend the open space easement and agreement and the affiliated covenants. So in 2004, that standard was changed so that only the amount of open space that is required to support the development at the time be entered into the agreement. So you don't see these adjustments to open space unless there's a particular need to do so. And I think the McGlashan example tonight is one of those examples that doesn't fall within the same pathway as the Michael Foster case that you tabled in order to get this explanation. You don't see this for newer subdivisions. Whenever we bring them before you, the minimum standard of a subdivision that predates 2004 for that open space requirement has been exceeded by such a vast amount that the adjustment doesn't run afoul of the previous code or the current code as it
So
sits.
this is just, so basically what's happening here is they overgave open space, and now they want to claim some of it back.
That's right.
Okay.
And we included some images because, and if you pull up, can we get the Foster?
That's the next one.
Well, that's the next one. Let's finish this
Yeah.
one first. And then.
But just to illustrate, the clarity on the copy that you receive isn't the greatest, so we brought some images just to illustrate the considerations that go into adjustments so that there aren't negative impacts on adjacent properties. And so that was, I think, a point that was raised with the Foster case.
So, Doug, why would somebody come back and reclaim?
So in such a case of Foster, that deed restriction prohibits him from doing, he has the, if there's available density left, he could develop that, and in some cases, they're trying to get a land preservation easement, and this is kind of holding them up from getting that. And then we also have permitted uses that are allowed in that open space, and if they want to do something that's not on that chart, they may seek to reduce it so they can.
So they can?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Great explanation.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
That was the big question mark over our heads 2 weeks ago.
Right.
You know, and it's better to be sure that and clear and understand of what's going on than to just arbitrarily say, yeah, go ahead. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
In general, every 10 acres of cluster lots requires 56 acres of open space, so that's kind of the formula we use.
So are you saying that you're going to put that into preservation, that I understand?
I don't know specific to this case, but that's an option they would have with that deed restricted lifted off of that.
He was giving examples, Patrick, of why they may want to do it, not specifically as to this property.
So I asked the reason why they would want to capture that back, and he gave several reasons. One of them is to put that land in land preservation, but they can't do it until that is, I guess, removed from the open space. But we're not sure what Mr. Foster plans on doing with what his portion that he's grabbing back.
No, we don't have that information.
And that's not a requirement, I guess, not at all.
It is not, they don't give it, we don't have what their future plans are. Donna here from Soil Conservation, she alluded to the fact that Mr. Foster was speaking to them about placing this in preservation.
As long as it meets our minimum standard, we can process the request.
Good.
Somebody like to make a motion?
Yeah, we're on item
I
number
move
6.
to execute the termination of the open space easement for the Jennifer McGlashan amendment to the easement plan.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Pretty much had a discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Now the one right behind it.
I move to execute the second amended deed of open space easement for the Michael D. Foster amended open space amendment plan.
Second.
A motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Thank you very much.
Just a little heads up, there is a few more of these.
They're not here yet, though.
They're not here yet.
That's right.
Nice meeting you, Doug.
So
Thank
we'll
you
see
very much.
back.
We have some coming attractions, it sounds like, huh? All right, thank you very much.
It's called a teaser.
Yeah.
Trailer.
Yeah, trailer.
All right, Commissioners, item number 8 on pages 36 through 38. Chesapeake College, this is a letter of support to the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development for an application they received from Chesapeake College to receive just shy of $150,000 for upgrades to modernize the Todd Performing Arts Center.
Modernize it.
Yes.
I move to execute the Chesapeake College letter of support for Todd Performing Arts Center.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion?
Before we vote, I just did want to add that I got information today that Caroline County voted unanimously to support the Regional Training Center at their meeting today. So
Good. So now we've got our 3.
we got 4 now.
4 now.
Right
Oh,
at 5, yeah.
so we're good.
Okay.
That's good.
Good. So, good bit of information. Awesome. All right, well, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 9, this is a series of policy revisions that have been provided by our Director of Budget and Finance for your consideration and approval. These have been vetted with the Spending Affordability Committee, and our independent auditors have recommended these move forward. So basically, we've also circulated these to our department directors, and they've provided some commentary on these policies. So they involve cash controls and cash handling policy, our mileage reimbursement policy, our expenditure controls policy, and our purchasing P-card or credit card policy. So we can go into some more details if you have questions about any of those, but these are updates that help us manage our cash flow.
I move to approve the policy revisions to 400-001 cash controls and handling policy, 400-006 mileage reimbursement policy, 400-012 expenditure control policy, and 400-014 purchasing card policy effective September 1st, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Seeing
This was
none.
last done in 2010.
Say that again, Patrick?
This was last done in 2010, meeting update. Oh, good. Move forward.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. 5-0.
All right. All right, thank you, Commissioners, and thank you, Mr. Rank, our Director of Budget and Financial Management, for putting those together for us and updating those policies. Item number 10 on pages 56 and 57 is a budget amendment CC3 for the Board of Education. This budget amendment transfers budget authority to the Bayside Elementary School vestibule and to the Kent Island High School security vestibule projects, both of which came in over budget. The budget authority needed is being transferred from other various capital projects that were in the Board of Ed capital project plan that have either closed or came in under budget. So no additional county funds are needed for these adjustments. It's more of an internal budget authority tracking amendment.
I make a motion to approve budget amendment CC-3.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? We used to do a lot of this 8-9 years ago, scraping through the, what project's done, what's left over, pulling nickels and dimes together to make things happen. So I'm happy we're still doing it. I think that's a great way to do it. It's not costing the taxpayers any more money. It cleans it up and we get the projects done. So kudos. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. And last item is desk item 1, which is proclamation
24-36.
Yeah, 2436.
Hunger Action Month.
That's right.
Yes.
My esteemed colleague,
Yes, I will be reading the proclamation 24-36. Whereas the food insecurity needs of children, youth, men, women, seniors, active military, and veterans today is fundamental for the future of Queen Anne's County. And whereas hunger and poverty are issues of a vital concern in Queen Anne's County, and whereas the need for comprehensive, coordinated emergency food programs in our community is key, and whereas the Food Bank of Maryland is committed to combating hunger in every part of our community and providing additional resources that those in Queen Anne's County need. And whereas it is our responsibility as citizens of Queen Anne's County to learn about hunger and to do our part in reducing that hunger. Whereas 1 in 3 Marylanders face food insecurities, and the Food Bank of Maryland distributed over 637,103 meals to Queen Anne's County in fiscal year 24. I'll read that number again.
please do.
637,103. Whereas the Food Bank of Maryland, its generosity, funders, volunteers, and local partner agencies are committed to educating citizens on the role of food bank and hunger relief efforts in solving hunger. And whereas the Food Bank of Maryland has provided 43,602,884 meals in Maryland in the last year. Whereas the month of September is designated Hunger Action Month in order to bring attention to food insecurity in our communities. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of Queen Anne's County, do hereby proclaim September 10th as Hunger Action Day in Queen Anne's County. And I will make sure these folks get this.
Thank you very much. There we go.
All right, Commissioners, that is all of the action items we had this evening for your consideration. I'll also mention on your desktop, we had 2 other informational items. The first being, we have the official letter of notification from our health officer, Dr. Joe Ciatola, of his retirement effective December 31st of this year. So we'll have to be seeking a replacement for
Motion to reject
his position. Yeah.
Motion to reject the.
Denied. Don't we have a rubber stamp that says denied on it, somewhere?
Yeah.
You can punch it and send it back, see what he does.
Sorry.
I guess he does. I guess he wants to go quietly into the night and focus.
No, he's still going to run DES.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. And focus on just being our medical director.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's going to read the motion?
Oh, there's no motion. I was
It's
just
just
information.
He's retired.
Yeah, he doesn't really give us a say in it.
We don't have anything to say about it. So.
Yeah. We've got him till the end of the year, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. And then secondly, there is a notice of a hearing for the R.B. Baker and Sons rubble landfill vertical expansion on September 18th at 6 p.m., and we sent that out as a calendar invitation if anybody wants to attend that hearing. I don't expect it to be well attended, but he's been working on this for 10 years or so, but doing a fine job down there with that facility. And that's all we have, Commissioners.
So we'll go to our second press and public comment. We have nobody that signed up. Would anybody like to speak? Seeing none. Bruce, do you have any, no further? So we'll close press and public comment. We'll go right into roundtable. And I think I'm going to start at roundtable on a couple of different items. I think first I'd like to say thank you to Jack's wife, Tracy Wilson, and Linda Friday from the Chamber of Commerce for what they did for QAC Goes Purple. Our kickoff was at the Route 18 Park. We went up there with Queen Anne's County Soccer, over 800 kids and their parents giving out information, free hot dogs, and awareness, and actually made shirts for all the kids that were purple with their logo on it, but they just did a great job, and they don't get enough credit, and I want to thank them, and Warren Wright and Kathy Wright also. So we're blessed to have them. Right now our overdoses in Queen Anne's County for the year are 16, and our deaths is 1. And last year was 9, a year before that was 16. So we hope we're going in the right direction, and we want to keep the momentum up and keep our kids safe, and adults for that matter also. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the Board of Ed. We've all gotten emails, we've all gotten comments, things are flying back and forth, on Facebook and every other social media location, and a lot of it is somewhat twisted, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that they don't have the information with some of their comments. So the commissioners have a statement, and I'm just going to read the statement. The Queen Anne's County Board of Education is funded by both the county and the state of Maryland. The Board of Ed has faced several challenges over the past few years, which has now led to potential staff and service reductions to our local school system. The financial challenges include: 1, significant turnover and instability in its accounting function over the past several years, particularly in the CFO position and finance office. Requests for operational funding for the FY 24-25 fiscal year that far exceeded its maintenance of effort requirements and previously agreed upon increases. Budgetary requests that have increased materially over the time despite flat student enrollment numbers. Despite these concerns, the commissioners provided an additional $6.2 million in funding over last year's FY24, which is funding over last year, FY24, which is $7 million above the required MOE. So the commissioners we are doing our part as best that we can. This equates to a total county allocation of $75.1 million plus an additional $42.1 million in state funding, for a total operating budget of $118,400,000 for FY25. However, the board is currently operating with a projected budgetary deficit just 6 weeks into the fiscal year FY25. And there are concerns that this trend will continue to get worse in the coming years. The county does not suspect any fraudulent activity, but we believe it is prudent for transparency to our citizens that we engage a third-party firm to conduct a performance audit in order to assess the operational decisions of the school system, evaluate whether the finance office is properly structured and designed to deliver complete, accurate, and reliable financial information, and ensure that no fraud is occurring. So, again, I think that this is going to be good for everybody, and we have a motion here. I'm going to read that I move to authorize the county administrator to solicit and hire an independent auditing firm to conduct a performance audit of the Board of Education's financial records and budgetary development procedures.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Would anybody else like to chime in and discuss?
I just want to say that the superintendent and her board were more than cooperative in moving forward on this. They said our books are wide open for anybody who wants to do an audit, and they said that they'll be cooperative and helpful in every way they possibly can.
Yeah, I'll say so. I think whenever something goes wrong, right, I think there's a tendency, some people, they're blood in the water, and they just want to say, who do we blame and who do we say did something wrong? And I think the way we've always approached things is, when something goes wrong, what we try to say is, well, what happened, and then how do we stop this from happening in the future? So what action can we take to fix problems rather than just sort of get caught up in the drama of what a problem might be, right?
Or throwing money at it.
Right. So we want to fix things. And so in addition to this action, the commissioners have taken a lot of other action. We get advised by our Spending Affordability Committee on how we plan out our budget. And so we had the Spending Affordability Committee meet with the Board of Education, senior staff, Commissioner Moran and myself, and Todd Mon met with them to go through some stuff on, some best practices, to learn more about how they're doing things. Our finance department is working hand in hand now with the Board of Ed, Finance, to try to get them, working with them, anything, resources that we can offer them. I want to say, I think the new CFO, Whitney Gast, she's a graduate of Kent Island High School. And she has been sort of thrown into a fire, right, at this point. And I think she's committed to this community, and she's going to really learn a lot in this position. And I commend her for not walking away when she got you start a new job, and it's like, oh, wow, there's a lot of things I have to deal with now. And she's jumping into this, and she's rolling up her sleeves, and I think she's going to be a tremendous asset for the county. And I think this performance audit is going to be one of those tools that is going to help them going forward. So I think what we're trying to do is say, how do we partner with the Board of Ed to make things better going forward? And that's part of what this is. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, this isn't a witch hunt by any stretch of imagination. This is, maybe there's some guidelines that we can get in here, some checks and balances to help them with this, and especially when they have such large turnover. Anything, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, I think this serves as a huge push towards transparency across the board. I think it's going to highlight some things. There's going to be some truths. There's going to be some hurt feelings. I mean, there's going to be things. Something like this happens for a reason. And right now, it's more important that we do it now than wait a couple more years and let this exponentially get worse, just because of the fact that we know the fiscal state of the state right now. And what we're looking at is increases in education mandated through the blueprint. Whether people want to say the blueprint is increasing education spending, I've seen it where it's not the blueprint. The blueprint is mandating it's where it's coming from. The increases are from the blueprint. You can't hide it under a shell. It's there. And at the end of the day, we're going to have to embrace it because it's the law, and that's the bottom line. It's the law. But I also think that, our teachers, they have to understand, too, that there's got to be compromise on this, because this thing got rolled out probably a little early. Hopefully the governor's words about maybe doing something come to fruition, and the counties will get a little relief from it. But, we're fully prepared to meet the obligations, but, it's going to take a team effort to get there. And I think this is a good first step, is to find out, okay, what is our baseline? Where do we sit? What can we do better? And going forward. And I think the commissioners are, like Jim said, now reiterate, this isn't a witch hunt by no means. This is, to Chris's point, to try and fix something that seems a little bit broken.
Come with a solution and not a complaint.
Right.
Yep. But Todd, do you know what's the timeline you think that it would take for an audit like this? Is it?
We don't have any final schedule yet. We have met with several firms. We're narrowing down the scope, but we want to expedite this as quickly as we can. One firm said they couldn't get to it for several months, so they're off the table, but we want to get this moving.
I mean, I think it's
quickly.
important we get this done before the budget process for 26,
Exactly.
25, 26.
Right, yeah, that's what I want to say,
November, when they start.
hopefully something by the end of the year.
Well, even before then, they put pen to paper in October, November for the schools. So they're coming up on it quick. So we really, this sense of urgency on this is there in my mind.
Yeah.
So.
We've been talking about this for a while, and you guys, transparency and coming alongside as a partner with the Board of Ed and with with Patty's team is going to be a positive thing. And of course, we're going to find out the state's not giving us enough of their finances that they promised. So it's a good thing.
And I guess Last thing I'll talk about is the bridge one
You
more
got,
time.
you got a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry. We have a motion and a second on this item.
We
for
want
the,
to we want to cap it at this, are we worried about that? What? Do you want to amend your motion to cap it at the estimate that we have, or do you want to just leave it open-ended?
I can revise the scope and bring it back, make sure it's
When we have the
within
bids.
reason. Yeah, when we have some bids, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we'll.
Do you want to amend the?
But I'm just
motion?
saying, right now, we have this, right, as a preliminary, do you want to put it at that, and if it's not more than the 30K, we just, then Todd moves forward?
Well, why don't we,
Todd can, within 100,000, he
Yeah.
can execute.
Yeah, I would just put it there so we don't have to keep, so it moves, in case
Right.
we're in between meetings or whatever, we get it moving.
All right. Well, we'll just put it not to, you want to just put it not to exceed 100,000?
Yeah.
Not to exceed, okay, so I'll amend my motion to, the budget for this endeavor is not to exceed $100,000.
Second.
Okay. All right, so now we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. There we go. So, the last thing I'll talk about is the bridge real quick. I think it's next Thursday night. I got an invite. I'm going to go up there around 8:30 at night. I'm going to, with the rest of some of the other BRAG members, we're going to be able to see them cut a section out, lift it out, do the whole 9 yards, put the new section in, which is,
That'll be past your bedtime then.
yeah, it's going to be a little bit groggy up there, but the gates no longer, the ramp's no longer closed. We've got a ton of data. I'm thinking maybe sometime in February, we should, February or March, do possibly another town hall, because a lot of the public think that this is the only remedy, what we're doing, or this is the only thing we're going to do, and that's not the case. We want to do other things. We want to close some more ramps. We want to be able to monitor some other ramps and have control of those ramps. And we're starting that dialogue with the state to see if we can, increase on this, because what happens is, especially on Saturdays, once these backups start to occur, everybody jumps off to try to get on 18, and Saturday from like 2 to 4, it's a nightmare, and then it clears out. And Sundays have been relatively good. The Sundays have not been a major issue. So, I personally think it's working, because every Sunday night we eat out to dinner, and I can get all the way down to the Kent Narrows on Route 18 without ever stopping. So I'm happy for that. So we just keep moving forward. Like I said, we're in year number 3 now, starting year number 3 of the NEPA Phase 2, which is 4 years. So we've got to get that completed to move us to the next phase. So.
Jim, are they replacing the sections on with the main span and the smaller span?
That's what I want to ask. Everyone's asking, because, the steel comes in, so
No,
they've widened the road everywhere else.
Because they're up to that
Yeah.
secondary span now with it, and I'm thinking, are they going past that? Or?
Yeah, oh, they're going to do the whole thing.
Really?
They're in the process right now for Phase 2, which is on the other side of the superstructure going down the curved ramp. Yeah, so.
Coming up, basically.
Yeah, coming up the curved ramp. So they're in the work of, engineering and design and cost analysis and all that kind of happiness because they want to, when they get done with this one, they want to roll right into the next one and not stop. So we're hoping that is the case also. So we shall see. Well, that's enough for me. So who wants, Phil?
I attended one of the early meetings for the Bay Bridge Run, which is taking place in November. I guess that's the 10th.
10th.
Yep.
They have it down to a science, and all the representatives from the different agencies were there at the meeting. And they're just pulling out the playbook and tweaking a little bit. But we're going to hope for good weather. And again, they're in the planning stages. It was nice to see all the agencies there that are going to be working on this race and making sure that it's an enjoyable event and a safe event for everybody. And there's a couple future meetings scheduled that I'll be attending. Currently, right now, in race registration, they're knocking on the door of 10,000 runners so far, and they're anticipating that they'll probably have about 17,000 that will register. There's always a roughly 10% that are no-shows for the actual race. So they're thinking that they might be somewhere between 15,000 and 16,000 runners for the event. So that'll be pretty awesome.
That's great.
That's it.
You want to go? Good. You're good, Jack?
I yielded my time to you in the bridge.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Patrick.
Oh, Patrick, you want to chime in?
Yeah, just quickly, the FEC meeting, it came up about Chester River Beach Road in Nesbit, and our fire department couldn't get out sometimes, on a weekend. So I expressed to them that MDOT has that information for next year. Secondly, just quickly, the economy of dam. You kind of heard what I was saying to the delegate. I just would like to know, I'd just like to send the senators and the governor a letter from us and from Kent County and probably Cecil County, asking them to relook at doing a pilot program for dredging. So if it's okay with you guys, I'll work with Todd on that.
Okay.
I have talked to Chip. He's aware of it. He likes the idea. And that's it.
I think it's important, yeah, it's important that we keep this in the forefront of their thought processes. I mean, we've been asking them to dredge behind that dam for years and years and years, and partnering with the Rural County Coalition and our partners up in Kent County with Ron Fithian. And you just got to keep the awareness going, because the problem that we get when we have these major storms and the dam is opened up, all the hard work that our farmers are doing and our business owners and what the county's doing to keep our nitrogen and phosphorus loads and sediment buildup at low levels, a storm can, put us behind the 8 ball. So I think it's important, Commissioner McLaughlin, that we stay diligent in making them understand that this is something that we're going to request and we're not going away.
Well, also the fact that for years, they didn't want to do any dredging because they were concerned about the heavy metals and contaminants that was in that soil. So that what they did do 5 years ago, they did the core samples. And they came back as mostly sand and coal. There were no contaminants in there. So they could use that during, in all types of construction. And I've actually got a couple of those little bottles of that soil.
We all do.
Yeah.
They brought them in for
Yeah, so,
they're saying that it could be used for landscaping and for farms.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean.
One of the biggest challenges that they're claiming is getting rid of the spoils from the dredging. Where are you going to put it? Cost incurred there. Who's going to pay that cost? So that's some of the ongoing challenges. But
oh, yeah. That's a big
we have to stay diligent.
Coffer Dam or put it on a farm. And lastly, tomorrow's September 11th, and it's just apropos, we did the character counts for our great first responders, for our SROs, and for our fire department. And it's a day that we need to remember for the rest of our history.
Good point.
Yep, thank you very much.
Now I'll make my motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.